What's up, guys? It has been a week, quite a week, unpredictable, weird things. I've missed seeing you guys this week, but it's weird. God works in crazy ways. For the last year or so, we have known that we're moving towards this 4-week series of change, talking about change. Sometimes God is like, hey, I want you to learn from the Word. But then also a lot of other times it's like, hey, life. Learn from life. Let's see how this forms and shapes you. So we're in this period of change right now, and that reminded me of Moses. Way back in Deuteronomy chapter 31, we've got this story. For another time, another story, Moses disobeyed God, and he's not going to get to see Israel into the promised land. So he's given like this speech to Israel and to Joshua before they head in. He says in chapter 31, verse 6, "Be strong, courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them who are in Jericho, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." And then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in sight of all Israel, "Be strong, courageous. For you shall go with this people into the land that the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall put them in possession of it. It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." So Moses has to say this to Israel because they have been fearful. They have been dismayed. A lot of them, they don't even want to go into the promised land because they are more comfortable just chilling where they are. They don't want to face that fear. They don't want to face that uncertainty. And, it's kind of crazy. God says, hey, I want you to get up and walk around this city all week. And then you'll see what happens at the end. It's like, God, you're asking me for a lot of faith to do something that I have no certainty in. So fast forward to Malachi chapter 3, verse 6. This is the last book of the Old Testament. This is what God says to his people. He says, "I, the Lord, will never change. To protect you, the descendants of Jacob, to protect Israel, the Lord never changes." We can place a lot of faith in the truth of that God never changes. But we can also rely on the fact that our lives will change. Our lives will change. Change when I was a teenager was the worst subject to bring up. I didn't want to hear that we might be moving. I didn't want to even hear okay, my class schedule had changed. Change is just, no. I don't want any part of that. I can kind of relate to the Israelites. It's almost better just to sit where I'm comfortable rather than push and obey even something that God might have for me. But the Israelites, they had to step into that season, circumstance, period of change in order to realize what God had set aside for them in the promised land. They had to push through, otherwise they would have missed out on something incredible that God had for them. They had to push through their fear. We'll get back to that. I want to take us to John 5, which is a different story. And if you're thinking about scrolling on, bear with me. I think this will be good. So John 5, Jesus is at this pool called Bethesda. And there's this is in John 5, every season, every little bit, an angel comes down and would stir the waters. And the first person who gets in the pool gets healed. So there's this man there. He's paralyzed. He cannot walk. And he's been at this pool for 38 years. Can you imagine, put yourself in his shoes? You're not walking very far in his shoes, but 38 years just sitting, trying to get your turn in this pool, and it never comes because he's alone. He tells Jesus, "I'm alone. I have no one to put me in the pool. Every time I get close, somebody else jumps in before me." So he is paralyzed. He is stuck. The Israelites, they're not stuck. They have the option to choose comfort or to push through fear. So when it comes to change, I think one of the reasons we fear it, and one of the reasons it is so hard, is because we fear what is on the other side. We fear what awaits us, what might happen to us on the other side, or what might even happen to us in the process. We are fearful, so it's easier to stay where we're comfortable. That's one reason we can fear change and why it is so difficult. But I think when it comes to change, a lot of us, we know that we want to change. We know that we should be changing, and maybe we even know that we need change. We need something to be different about our lives. But like this lame man, we're looking for change in the wrong places. And we've been looking for so long that we're even trapped in that process. And the answer can swing right by us and we don't even know it. Or confront us face to face and we have this excuse, Jesus, I'm all alone. You ever felt trapped? Have you ever felt alone? Have you ever felt paralyzed in life? So much to the point that, I know that change needs to happen. I know that something needs to be different about my life. But we're looking in the wrong places, the wrong areas. What's so interesting about this story in John 5, is Jesus doesn't ask him, hey, why hasn't anybody helped you? Where's your family? He doesn't ask him those questions. He simply asks him in verse 6, do you want to be healed? He's not looking for excuses. He's not looking for how hard you've tried to change. Jesus wants to offer you change himself. He's not looking for excuses. Do you want to be healed? And there's always an excuse to not step forward in faith to follow Jesus. There's always an excuse to not step into obedience when it comes to something that he is calling you to. But for this lame man and for the Israelites, the answer to the change before them is found in just their obedience. The answer is found in obedience and trusting God. So that's what we're going to talk about moving forward. I'm hoping it's really, really awesome. Change is hard, but change is a necessary part, and it's going to be a real part of our lives moving forward. That is guaranteed. But what also is guaranteed is the fact that God never changes. So we're going to hear from Dallas tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing what she shares with us, and then you guys will have a chance to go over some more of this on Sunday. I hope you have a great weekend. Cannot wait to see you very, very soon. Check back with us on social media. Have a great night.